Woo! It's Monday. I guess you guys know what time it is. It's time to overreact. On today's docket, we're going to talk about spring camp, top 25. Athlon Sports just put out their top 25. Also, on today's docket, we're going to talk about Carson Beck a little bit. Like, did Kirby Smart make the right decision by not trying to force him to stay in Athens? Also on today's docket, we're going to do another Coach Nino Express only on Overreaction Mondays. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with me is a guy that needs no introduction, the mayor of college football, Downtown Nino Brown. Nino, what's happening?
It's another Monday, another lovely episode. Another chink in the as the world turns for Carson Beck.
I am excited about today's episode, going down, looking at the rundown. I found some, like these would be some interesting topics to talk about. But let's go off script. Me and you love to go off script. We're going to also talk about dynamic duos a little bit later. You and I, we're pretty damn good dynamic duo. Before we get to that, I think Deion Sanders may be on to something.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to run away from the spring game because they don't want the guy that's buried on the depth chart to get more NIL money at another school. They put on a showing. Deion wants to lead the pack and let's start something else. Allegedly, he's looking for another school to play in, and we've seen a couple of schools respond already. How you feel about this? Is this a trend that we might be headed down a path that we will love as credential members of the media?
Yeah, listen, I mean, with everything going, contracts for, players and the way they're kind of developing this playoff, I mean, there just seems that they're going to go down more of this NFL route. And why not, right? Joint practices for a couple days, come in, do a Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, have Friday off and have a spring game on a Saturday. Dude, I'll tell you what, ratings will go through the roof, right? And like Deion said, well, these kids are kind of getting tired. It's getting monotonous facing each other every day, sometimes twice a day. And then, and in the spring game, you kind of just going through the motions, right? So I think this is great. Again, we saw Fran Brown mention that he where to find us, would be down. Another guy who's kind of gets that cocky approach to him or that aura around him is head coach Jermaine Jackson out of I think it's Prairie View A&M.
Yeah.
He's been asked many times about his attitude, and he just believes in his program and his coaching and what he brings to the school. But that would be that's instead of having these layups to start week one, right? You get some HBCU schools in there, you get some D2s or whatever, FBC against FCS for spring games. Let's get a little taste. Get some money thrown around. It doesn't have to be this $1.7 million bag, but it's also a product that people actually will watch in the spring game. Nobody's going to really watch that game week 0 or week 1 when the score when Alabama plays Circuit City U when it's 75-2. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
right.
This would be something to kind of bring the interest back to spring games since it seems like nobody wants to do the spring games, right? And it kind of is coaches saying, screw all this. You're going to steal my players or not, bro. I just believe in my staff, my program, and guys are going to want to stay here. And if they don't want to stay here, they were going to leave whether I had a spring game or I didn't have a spring game. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we're going to do it anyway. I think Clemson would be another school that would be on board because Dabo Swinney's been kind of teasing these coaches who don't want to have spring games. He's like, this is quality. I think this can start a new trend. And I mean, the TV money they would eat this up, man. They would eat up 100%.
Everything's about $1, right? All about the Benjamins, like Biggie said. It's just, why not? Right? Like when everybody's scrambling, this is something that came out of left field that nobody really thought about. I've seen, a few people in the community kind of say, it would be nice, a couple months ago, and then all of a sudden now it comes to fruition. So, there are some people that were on it because they're like NFL, they're kind of going that route. But I think this is the perfect way to kind of nix the whole, they're going to steal my place. Because you know what? But before the NIL and the transfer portal they were still doing it. Before the transfer portal was like, I don't like the way my coach looked at me, I'm hitting the portal. They were still finding ways to get players. There's always going to be, the Connor Stallions of the world are going to be like, this guy's not playing here, but I know you're just your first year coach, you're my homie. You might want to give him a call when the spring portal opens up. So that's going to happen regardless. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not? Why not? Get these small schools back. Get these schools that don't normally play each other. Get it out there. Get these schools some extra money, right? You know what I mean? Nobody's saying they're going to be playing, 100%, balls to the wall. You don't want an injury or whatever. You're not going to show your whole playbook as well. But it also gets these kids to get a little bit more experience. Some of these younger kids that get going against some other, a true freshman against a true freshman from different schools instead of you going against, a 3-year starter and you're getting dogged. Now we get to see where you're at against kids amongst your own class. So I'm all for it.
I think that's where you would see people go 100%. I think that's where you would see that third team or the second people who are fighting for playing time.
Right.
I think you would see that. I think this will be beautiful for the sport. The sport is growing. Why not have these moments? And then Fran Brown said, "Hey, we'll come and spend 3 days out Boulder."
Yeah.
I mean, with everybody having these not real spring games, it's kind of meet and greets with the teams. You have a real spring game. You put your program out there. If you document it properly, it can be kind of like a tool, almost like a marketing tool for, hey, our university is dope. You see, we're not running from the smoke. And while you think you're trying to keep your players from leaving and, going somewhere else, they're going to do it anyway because these two teams aren't afraid to put, on the table.
Believe in your brand. You believe in what you believed in your what you had to say in your coaching style and what you bring to a program when you went to the transfer portal to get these kids. So I'm assuming you ain't worried about the kids that are leaving. Like Dion said, bro, when he first got there, most of you guys ain't going to be here. It's just how it works. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to get their guys, the guys that they want. And if the kid's not good enough to make the first team or be in rotation, then maybe he wasn't the guy for that team anyway, and he was going to find a way out. So I don't know if it matters if there was film on him or if there wasn't film on him. But, with NIL nowadays, people can just go to 24/7 Rivals on 3 and be like, he's a 4-star. He's just buried. Maybe, we don't see any film because it's not spring. Well, why is he buried behind a depth chart? We'll take a flyer, and then you give him a call. It's the same thing that's going to happen. This is not going to stop the people, hitting up players from other teams. It's not going to stop these kids hitting that late portal window. It's kind of a cop-out.
It is. It's 100% a cop-out. These kids who are looking for opportunities, who's fighting to get to the next level. I mean, kids are in our inboxes all the time.
Yeah,
like all the time. I literally had somebody in my inbox earlier. This is just the way it works. This is, I understand trying to protect. We don't want them to see our offense, this, that, and the third. Well, you had the same offense last year, and even if you got a new guy coordinator, there's tape on him from last year. You may have some new wrinkles and some new installs. At the end of the day, it is what it is. So that's just something I wanted to touch on before we get into today's segment. So, like I said in the opening, Athlon Sports has updated their preseason top 25. And I can't wait to hear some of your reactions to this. They did flip 1 and 2 initially for their way too early one. They had Ohio State at 1. This one they switched a little bit. We got Texas at 1, Ohio State at 2, Penn State at 3, UGA at 4, Notre Dame at 5, Clemson at 6, Oregon at 7, LSU at 8, Bama at 9, Miami at 10, Tennessee at 11, South Carolina at 12. I'm sure Nino will be happy with that. 13, Arizona State, 14, Kansas State, 15, Florida, 16, Michigan, 17, Illinois, 18, Texas A&M, 19, BYU, 20, Indiana, 21, Ole Miss, 22, SMU, 23, Iowa State, 24, Boise State, 25, Missouri. Nino, how you feel about this list overall? What are some things you would change? And who are some teams that aren't in this top 25 that you would have in this top 25?
So I like that, South Carolina now, all of a sudden,
that's out. That's
a week or two later, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think it's all click shit, right?
Yeah.
They're in the top 12, and hey, who knows? When it gets closer and closer, they may be in the top 10 by that time. I do like BYU being at 19. I think Kalani Sitake coming in there. They just gravitated to his aura. You see what they did, 11 and 2 last year. They had the non-Mormon kid, right? The Jewish Mormon, right out there, being a quarterback, and the three-headed monster's back. Like the big three's back. They bring back LJ Martin, they bring back Ratzlaff, and they also bring back Chase Roberts. But they're about to be called the Fab Four because they got a kid that's about to be Tyler Warren 2.0 for them out in Utah. He's the Utah State. He's transferred over from Utah to BYU. Carson Ryan. Bro, they're saying the hype out of this is they make it a point on every drive in practice to get him the ball at least one time. They got him lining up at H-back. They got him line inline, slot, motion. This guy is they're gonna use him like a Tyler Warren, and it seems as though Utah made a big mistake in letting this kid slip away. He might be like that Dalton Kincaid type player that they had, and they may be the new tight end. I no disrespect to Iowa, right? But it seems as though Utah kind of been pumping up these tight ends over the last 5-6 years. But I like what they got coming off that bowl victory over Colorado, right? Like last season. I like that they're getting a little respect. They do have a stretch of games, though, that on the road. Colorado, let me see. Colorado, Iowa State, Texas Tech, East Carolina. Those on the road, those games on the road. Those are flag games. Those are measuring stick games for them to see if this was a one and done, or we're here to stay and we're building this program for longevity. So I like where they're at. I like that they're getting a little respect. And I think that they built this program to be they could be in it for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting these qualities, 4-star, 3-star recruits, we're former recruits transferring over to your program, right? Like what he's going to do for this run game, what this tight end's going to do for this run game. Look at what, Tyler Warren did for Penn State's run game. They had two guys go for 1,000 yards who averaged over 5.5 yards. Because I think LJ Martin could just take off. He wasn't healthy last year, but when he was healthy down the stretch, BYU started churning, right? When Retzlaff started to hit a little bit of a low, it was LJ Martin carrying that offense. They bring back a bunch of guys on the line. I think BYU inside the top 20 is perfectly fine. I think a lot of people are sleeping on BYU, to be perfectly honest with you.
I love that take. So talk to me about a team that you feel like is, high on this list, and they should probably be a little bit lower.
Well, everybody's gonna say I'm beating a dead horse here, but no, Notre Dame at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Because here's my thing: we don't know who the quarterback is going to be, right?
Correct.
And whoever the quarterback is going to be, whether it's Carr, Angeli, or Kenny Minchie, who I like, but I don't think he's the favorite out there. Either one of them is the first-year starter. Guess what? Guess what you get in the first 3 weeks as a first-year starter? You get number 23 Miami on the road, and then you get number 22 Texas A&M at home. But there's a good chance if you lose those two games, you can kiss being in the top 25, being in the playoff, having any relevancy in this season at all. And you're going into those two games in the first 3 weeks with a first-year starter who has none of them have experience, right? And it's kind of just like up in the air. And your defense, new DC, and you lost Auden, Kaiser, Watts, Benjamin Morrison. There are a lot of holes on that defense who's been stout for many, many years. And a change on the defensive coordinator position. Dude, I honestly believe, even if they lose one of these games, I don't know if they would be in the top 10 by the end of the year. So I think putting them in the top 5 to start, knowing the strength of schedule they have to start off the year, knowing that there's going to be a first-year starter who has zero experience, knowing that defense has a lot of holes to replace. I know that, Kingston is going to be a guy probably going to replace Kaiser, but there are a lot of holes between Ogden, Watts, and Morrison in that secondary, and Ogden being that dude on the edge. I think that people are just giving Notre Dame more credit than they kind of deserve. I know they were there at the end, you know what I'm saying? But, bro, they lost a lot. This is going to be 4 years in a row they're changing over the quarterback, right? 4 years in a row. This is the first year they didn't hit the portal to get their guy. I think Notre Dame's ranked a little bit too high for me.
Who's a team that you think is properly rated? Like a team that you like, you know what? I'm comfortable. They are right where they should be.
I think that's starting to fall into place. A lot of these different sites and guys had in their top 25, they kind of had them ranked somewhere in between like 14 to kind of 22. Illinois, right? I think they're kind of ranked properly in that 18 to 20 kind of spot.
I'm buying a lot of stock on Illinois, bro.
I got a couple questions. I like Altamaya coming back, right? I like his return of production. I know, that's a big thing for you. But is there a slight QB controversy? Because they went out and got NIU quarterback Ethan Hampton
Mm-hmm.
in the portal, or maybe it's just to have a solid guy in the backup. But here's my thing: Altamaya needs a weapon. Franklin's gone.
Hudson Clement.
Patton, can he be the one, or is it going to be the two guys who seem to be identical to themselves? I think it was Colin Dixon and Hank Bentley, right? Beatley. They had identical numbers, 14 yards per catch, right? I think they had close to 250 receiving yards, 20-something reception. Is it going to be the guy who knows what's going on, or is it going to be, the new guy in Hudson Clement who's going to come in and take over there? So I think they're properly ranked. We saw them kind of get pushed up in the top 25 early on in the season, and then what happened? The snow globe shook out. Once all the snow settled, all the dust settled, we saw that where they properly were, bottom of the top 25, kind of on the outside looking in by the end of the year. But I think that they're good. They got guys, they're DBs, right? So that's going to be a thing for them. The defense, their secondary, that front seven, Gabe is a run stopper in the front seven, so he's a guy that's returning for them. I like where they are. I don't know if I would put them any higher than that, but I like them in that 18 to 20 bracket. I think they're now it's kind of starting to shake out everything that's going on with these rankings. It's not so much clicky-ish stuff.
Right. Like people trying to fight for clicks in the offseason. I get what you're saying 100%.
They also another team that has a brutal schedule down the stretch, like versus Ohio State, right? This is to close it out. 5 out of the last 7 versus Ohio State, at Washington, versus Rutgers, versus Maryland, who I know people might think they're in a rebuild, and I think it's a retooling, not a rebuilding.
Right.
And then at Wisconsin, second to last week of the season. So
Northwestern, I like their schedule a lot.
They have I think they're front loaded. So my thing.
I
think this you could see. I know what they're building over there. It seems like they're going in the right direction. I don't think Altamaya comes out this season. I think he gives us one more year, right? I think he takes that extra season. And I think that I think we might see a little bit more of what we saw with them Illinois last year. Come out of the gate, kind of being in that, maybe we would creep into that 13 to 16 range early because we're getting some substantial wins. But then we'll see how good and how battle tested you are. Now, if Altamaya takes that next step, and Hudson, and Hudson Clement could be a little bit better than what he was at West Virginia. Whoa, okay, now we have now a conversation of we're not going to probably, be a lateral movement. We might be able to take that next step. And all of a sudden, we're talking about Luke Altamaya and a Fighting Illini possibly being a top 12 team to start the 2026 season.
They can certainly, they can certainly, like you said, be a top tier team heading into the next season, where they can kind of be like that Indiana, what Indiana was this year. But even though people aren't sleeping on Illinois at all, I'm kind of interested to see if Josh McCray takes the next step.
Right. 5 yards per carry last year.
Yeah. And he was able to get to the end zone, but can he be the guy? Can he be the featured guy? Kind of like what Chase Brown was a few seasons ago. I like what Bielema's building. I'm interested to see, like, things are, like you said, their schedule is kind of backloaded. That the first part of their schedule, I think Duke will be kind of the measuring stick. Having to travel to Durham,
right.
That it'll be interesting to see where they're at. So talk to me about some other teams that's on this top 25 list.
Another team I like on this top 25, and everybody's kind of been talking about them in the CFB Nation community here. It's Clemson. I think Clemson's getting their respect. I think at the end of the year, we all kind of spoke about how we thought that they were going to be a juggernaut returning, especially with all of the major players coming back on offense and defense. I think they have a true freshman running back that it's about to just go bananas in Gideon, right? So there's no need to convert wide receivers like Adam Randall to running back. I think you have a kid there, and I think he's going to absolutely just carry this backfield. I think he's just going to be such a catalyst that gives them an extra piece to this offense that was clicking on all cylinders for most of the year. I think another year with Garrett Riley and Cade, he's got to be a Heisman favorite, right? He's got to be one of the top candidates, top quarterbacks in this class, right? Going into it, I just think everything they've done. Finally, they're on the same page. I think Dabo kind of got his own, maybe at home in a dark room somewhere. He got a reality check or an ego check to himself, right? Didn't go crazy in the portal, but he got a couple guys in the portal, right, that he needed. And I think, team is built in returning people and built to kind of be a juggernaut this year. And I like that they're getting their respect. I truly believe Cade Klubnik will be top 3. I think he's gonna be top 2 quarterback in his class. I think he's
I agree.
the best in the ACC.
I agree.
You said Syracuse last year with Kyle McCord. I'm gonna go out and say Cade Klubnik is top 3, best in the ACC, top 3 in all of college football. Probably gets 35 touchdowns this year. I think because they have a freshman running back. I think I think they're gonna get them manufactured touches early, right? So I think early these games, you might not see them put up 35, 42, right? There might be some 24s, some 28s, because they're going to try to, get some experience with this young buck. But when it gets to these big games, these hot and meat and potatoes of the schedule, you're going to start to see this team go clicking on all cylinders. Now that the running back will be, experienced at that point, watch out. I think Clemson is a juggernaut. I think that Texas A&M is a team that I'm kind of like, is Marcel Reed the real deal?
Right.
Is he going to take the next step?
We both are both there. Because if you remember, there was a point last season. I'm like, does this guy truly give you the best chance to win? Like I understand he's the future. You want to get, go into the future, but does he give you the absolute best chance to win? And I thought Connor Wegman still gave them the best opportunity to win last season. I'm with you there. So how you feel about Texas A&M?
I think this is going to be this quarterback decision is going to weigh heavily on their head coach because they, from what I read and what I hear, they rushed Wegman back early. He wasn't 100% because they weren't sure if Marcel Reed was the guy, right? And Marcel Reed was kind of just running the ball around for the first couple of games instead of throwing the ball, right? And then Wegman came back for a game or two, kind of struggled a little bit, and he wasn't 100%. So they benched him and went with the Marcel Reed experience. And obviously he hit the portal because he knew that was the way that they wanted to go. But I don't know if that was the right answer. I'm from what I'm seeing and reading, Wegman's 100% now. Out in Houston, he's home, he's cooking, right? So I watch out. I mean, A&M always has a defense. They always have an elite guy on the edge. They always have an elite guy in that secondary. They've been doing it for years now. My question is Ruben Owens going to finally emerge and kind of be a factor for this run game for Texas? They're going to need it, right? If you can put a solid 85% of the hype that Ruben Owens led up to coming into,
we were all huge fans of him coming out of high school.
If him and Marcel Reed as a run game can be wow, like that gives them so much, right? That opens up so much because they can have that option, right? You got to eliminate a linebacker every time or a safety. Now the play action, right? Now, Reed develops a little bit more in his game, right? And his progressions and throwing the ball, through tight windows and in tight coverage. Man, that could be something. Again, they're kind of hurting though in that wide receiver room. And it's been like that for a couple years, right? Like they got one guy, Cyrus Allen. Is he going to be the dude? Can he step up and be the guy? They lost their tight end, that young kid. He hit the transfer portal this year. Texas A&M is a team that could have a Cinderella year. This is my opinion. Or they could be a team that just gets bounced out of the top 25 early and never has a chance to get back in. Like, there's a chance by week 4 or 5, they're at like 25, 26, and then it's just all downhill from there for them because other teams that are in that cushion, in that little tier, are just putting it together and figuring it out. I think this is a make or break year for the Aggies in College Park, College Station. I think the burner could get a little hot, and you could be talking about change again if things don't work out.
And that wouldn't be good for the program at all. Any teams not in the top 25, you feel like that should be in there? I know you and I both are big on Texas Tech this upcoming year. Do you feel like they're deserving of being in the top 25, or is it just difficult with the layout of the Big 12?
The layout of the Big 12, how much we've both bought into them the past
in the past, yeah.
I know injuries have played a part, but every team deals with injuries, right?
Right, it's a part of the.
You got to be able to coach up the next guy, next man up. Get the right talent in there. So, losing Micah Hudson, that's huge, right? So I want to see what they do in this wide receiver room. Who's going to step up and be that guy? Is what's the quarterback over there? Bertrand Morin, right? Mortran. Is he finally going to take the next step, right? Like Can he be Tyler Shrug? Can he be that guy? Like what he was? Can he step up, be that big arm guy who's accurate? So a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks with that schedule. A lot of question marks with how the kind of like the bigger dogs in the Big 12 have an easier schedule this year. Kansas State's and the Colorados, they kind of got a little easier this year, I think. So I think right now, Texas Tech on the outside. I mean, I bet you if you looked at like 4 or 5 different sites, they're probably somewhere in 25 to 26 to 30 range, right?
Right. Just outside.
And I think they need to earn it because I think, they blew a lot of smoke up a lot of our behinds for the last couple of years. They didn't live up to it. So I think not being in the top 25, I'm cool with it. Any teams on the outside looking in? Let me try to. Colorado.
Right?
Like, a lot of people keep telling me that Juju could be playing week 1. I think they're crazy. I think Caden Salter comes in there and he's got. I think this is going to be the first year since Deion's been there, right? Where you're going to get a complete offense. Marshall Faulk is the running backs coach.
He's a running back coach. Yes.
This dude didn't go there to just let them throw the ball 65, 75 times a game. He went there for a reason. He sees that they've had an anemic run game for the past 2 years, and he's one of the greatest of all times. I put that post out, about whether it's going to be Isaiah Augustive or the gentleman out of Kansas State, who was Dylan Edwards, who you think would have a better season. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Isaiah Augustive. I think that kid could have everything we thought he was going to be at Arkansas. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of there, 1,300-yard running back coming out of high school. Annually, every year he was turning out 1,300 yards, and 15-plus touchdowns. I think that this kid could sneak on the scene because everybody's sleeping because Colorado hasn't had a running game. And now, if they do have a running game with the complete offense, Warren Sapp is fired up, bro, this year. Warren Sapp is now officially a coach. He's no more of this like sideline guy.
Right.
Yeah, watch out for that front seven and what they're doing. They're building something there. I don't think Deion's going anywhere. I think they keep bringing in top tier talent that are starting in their coaching careers, right? And I think they're getting a lot of respect from these young kids because they're like, yo, I can't say nothing to this dude. What am I going to do? This guy's in a Hall of Fame, right? This guy played 20-something years in the NFL. This guy's top 5 ever. So it's like, I think Colorado, I think this could be the year that Colorado stays inside the top 25 for over 5 to 6 weeks.
We've known about Caden Salter for a few years now, and I remember a couple years ago we were doing a lot of CUSA. I mean, Conference USA probably owe us some money, but they take good care of us by credentialing us and stuff. But all the pregames we was knowing when he hits the national stage, and I don't see Juju as much as I love you. I just don't see him beating out Caden Salter. When people see Caden Salter hit the national stage, he goes for one of those crazy runs. I'm telling you. They're like, who is this kid? Well, we've been talking about it for 3 years.
Remember when Riley Leonard was at Duke, and then all of a sudden when he went to Notre Dame, they're like, oh, this guy.
Right.
You're going to get that with Caden Salter this year. The kid's got an arm. He can throw the ball, unlike Riley Leonard. Like, this kid's got a howitzer. He can fire the ball downfield. I think he's going to be on, like you said, national stage. He's got some elite coaches around him with a solidly built offense.
And they're going to hold him accountable. I think Jamie Chadwell and them, I don't think they had a tight enough grip. Like I said, his body language, we all have talks. We go to these, these games and we see things that people don't see. You guys, remember when I told you, I was like, Zachariah Branch is gone. How long ago did I say that, bro? I was like, I look at people's body language. I knew he was gone. I knew he wasn't coming back for another year at this. Just like Caden Salter, like he was done. He was so done. He separated himself from the team. So, he's not gonna be able to do that in Boulder, bro. They're gonna hold him accountable. These are men who's been there, who's done it. They're gonna hold him accountable. I think we'll see the attitude adjustment. And if he does not win the starting quarterback, I can guarantee something went wrong. Something went completely wrong.
He checked out and still had one of his best completion percentage seasons ever. Right? He was at 70% for most of the year, but his numbers were down. Right? He was efficient. Oh yeah, but again, they kind of didn't do anything right by him either, right? Like they lost a lot of their receivers to the portal, didn't really attack it, didn't really attack that in the recruiting process either, right? They lost Kawhi Colley didn't really, go in and attack some of them, but they put everything on him and then didn't develop a game script, I think, to kind of utilize him to his full potential. Like, he should have been using a Lenore Sellers type game plan, right? That's how he should, and he wasn't, especially if he's your only weapon, right?
Right.
So let's get some more RPO style runs, right? Let's get him off platform. Let's get some guys open and in the zone, let them sit down, right? Like, and they didn't do that. It was kind of confusing.
If I can speak candidly, and Liberty, no, this is coming from a place of love. We got nothing but the utmost respect from Liberty. I'm credentialed there for the entire year. To me, it reminded me of the Spencer Rattler situation. Remember, coming into the 2022 season, Spencer Rattler was supposed to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. You seen him play safe. Well, they got tired of safe, and Caleb Williams is born. I think Jamie Chadwell knew, well, hey, Kirk Cincinnati went last year. I should be the next guy up. And what we seen, they did not, game plan around Salter, and it wasn't so much of a layup as they thought it was going to be.
I agree. I feel like Liberty coasted.
Yeah, they did.
They expected him to elevate them without giving him anything to elevate them with.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see how things go in Boulder. Let's move on to our next segment. When Carson Beck announced his transfer from Athens to Coral Gables, it left many of us with the thought, damn, that was fast. It appeared Georgia didn't put up much of a fight. And in the end, we all knew it was NIL money grab. And more importantly, Hannah Cavender being the reason Carson Beck choosing the U. It's been rumored that the two may have split. This is rumors. We like to deal with absolute serious CFB Nation. It's just a rumor that they split. And a couple thoughts have entered my mind. Firstly, outstanding job by Kirby Smart. Outstanding job. And secondly, this is the crazy part of me. And I know Nino likes to go to these crazy places as well. Is it possible that Carson Beck enters the transfer portal? There's a lot to unpack there, brother.
I take my hat off. This is so. I'm gonna go with. It's no alleged shit. My man can't say the fuck off Snapchat. He got a problem. All right, and this is the way it is. Yo, I've gone down the rabbit hole. I do stupid shit before.
Right.
He was on vacation with Haley in some stupid brown hat with a logo on it, right? Apparently, the body language in the pictures that I saw, they weren't very good. And then the Latino woman that he Snapchat, she screenshots him in the same fucking hat 45 minutes later. Within 12 hours of that happening, her sister goes on social media saying, when I see things around someone that you love and it's not right, and that's, they need to know.
Yeah.
Homie, delete the damn app, stop being stupid, and move on with your life. Now, do I think he went to Miami strictly for her? No. He went to Miami for the fact that he's now worth $4.3 million in NIL validate. That's why he went to Miami. And I'm going to put this out there. I might get hate from it. I think he's soft as baby shit.
I agree.
I don't think he wanted to battle with Gunnar Stockton. I don't think he had enough to that intestinal fortitude in him to battle a dude if he wasn't 100%. If he came back from that shoulder injury and he wasn't 100 and had to battle in spring camp at 80% and did not win week 1 starting QB job, there goes his draft stock in the fucking trash, right?
And Kirby Smart's going to go with the best guy.
Who's he battling in Miami, KT? I'm going to tear down, right?
Right.
At least Cam Ward teared up. He went from Pac-12 today. I think that's a tear up. This guy teared down for a bag to get laid on the reg. He was going to get laid on the reg wherever he was. Sorry. The name alone was going to, you are your top tier quarterback in college football. Your name's Carson Beck, and you're worth a bag, bro. They're going to throw themselves at you. And you don't got people around you that can teach you some social media wizardry. Come on, bro. At some point, the grass isn't always greener around the other side, right? Don't be stupid. I don't think he hits the portal. Because if he hits the portal, he would have to tear down again.
You would?
And now you're looking at, he'd have to go somewhere like Bowling Green, right? Right? Well, no. Because then he could go, boom. I put him on a back. I put the program with Eddie George. We won the MAC. I put up 5,000 It would have to be something like that. I feel.
Mhm.
I don't think you could. Who's going to take him after this, right?
Right.
You're bringing on this type of bachelor type, Jersey Shore shit to the program. What's to say that you're not going to sleep around with someone at the school and on the staff and pull
Right.
what's his face, a Keyshawn Butte, and now we got this problem because you can't even stay off an app. Never mind, keep it in your pants. So I don't know. I don't think he hits the portal. I don't think so. I think right now what this gentleman needs to do, and who's to say that they don't get back together? This is also the second time they split, so it's happened once before, right? I think that now this gentleman needs to get in his Tiger Woods, tunnel vision, focus on football, focus on the spring. Dude, let someone else handle your social media shit. You don't need to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everything that you worked for in these past 3-4 years was to get to the next level, then let's focus on the next level and cut the horse shit. Do you be a football player? Have someone manage your social media like 90% of these dudes do, right? And go about your business.
I couldn't agree more. I think he does stay put as well. Are you worried about the Miami Hurricanes at all this upcoming season?
Nah, because I think you're about to see, if this kid can keep his head on straight, I think you're about to see the emergence of Josiah Trader. And when you got guys like Cam Ward and the other gentleman that were in there, Xavier Restrepo, saying that, watch out for Josiah, he's the next guy. Yeah, I think they're about to. I think that running back room, right, has so much depth in it and so much talent. I think that they're going to be a ground and pound team to start the year. And I think it's right in the pocket of what Georgia was for Carson Beck, but with watered down competition, right? They have a better defense than what they had last year. So I think in that respect, I think they are in a better shape to start the year off. They were giving up 36 a game to me and you. you know what I'm saying? So, no, do I have some concerns about Miami? Yeah, I have concerns about Miami every year, especially when they don't know how to manage the clock. And Mario Cristobal is someone that, like, I don't trust carrying a glass of water. Like, he might spill it. But I think the talent there, I think, like I said, if the kid can keep his head on straight and just get back to just playing football, he knows when the season's on, all eyes are on him. You just left 100%. The team that was in the national championship the last 2 out of the last 3 years. You were supposed to be the guy. You were supposed to be top 3 in this class, right? You have a little bit of a layup excuse because the shoulders was tore to shreds, right? But it didn't make that excuse any easier when the kid in front of you started just balling out and then took that shot and got right up like, he's not soft, right? So, like I said, I think he's a little bit soft. Like he had a little bit of a worry about stuff, affecting his ego and his image. So he kind of went somewhere else to kind of start new. But some skeletons in the closet, bro, they just always stay in the closet.
I couldn't agree with you more. We're going to bring back a segment from last week that I liked a lot. And I liked it a lot as a spectator. So I can't wait to be on the show and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Let's get into another segment of Coach Nino Express. I'm going to name a team and you give me your thoughts on any positional battles that, they can have either during spring camp or fall camp. And, give me an outlook for the team. So let's start with Ohio State. Where you at with Ohio State right now?
Denzel Burke is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to fill in that role? Is it going to be Davidson Igbanson, or is it going to be the absolute dog in Devin Sanchez? I mean, this is the number 1 DB, right? This is like top 25 kid in the class, right? He's going to eat at the time. He's going to make somebody get him on the field. Who is going to be the one that falls victim to Sanchez, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he had over 40 offers. Every top school in the country wanted this dude. I'm pretty sure he went to Ohio State because they probably told me he's going to have an opportunity to play, right, in his freshman.
Right.
We've seen true freshman DBs at Ohio State eat. Denzel Burke, for instance, as a true freshman, which is probably his best year ever, right? So we've seen it done before. So that is one competition for Ohio State that I want to know. Running back. Loaded, right?
Oh, yeah.
Donaldson, Peoples, Bo Jackson, Anthony Rogers. Like, that's 4 stars, 5 stars out the wazoo. C.J. Donaldson, former tight end, converted to running back, right? But he's had some injury issues. And we saw James People, a 5-star running back from last class, eat into some time with Travion Henderson and Judkins there down the stretch. So is it People's time and Donaldson's there to be the backup? Or is it Donaldson to be the veteran guy to start the year and People's just kind of like, the offset? And then we'll kind of run it like we did Henderson and Judkins 50-50 down the stretch. So that's something that I'm kind of looking for Ohio State, because I think those are key positions. There's no quarterback competition, bro. It's Julian saying,
for sure.
Ain't there yet. He's a guy. He ain't there yet.
You comfortable in their wide receiver? You comfortable in Brandon Inus? Is he going to take the next step?
Well, if he doesn't, you have the other gentleman, right? Is it red shirt? He didn't play.
Mylan Graham.
Yeah. So I don't think I worry. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is, like, they shipped the other guy out. He hit the portal, Fleming, right? Ballard, who I think is going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's in Wisconsin, right? He took 3 years. He couldn't make it. But they have plenty of talent.
Yeah, I don't know. They got an abundance of talent.
Innis's problem is, where he went to school his freshman season, they didn't allow him to enroll early. They don't allow that.
They don't allow that.
So he was already behind. Yeah. He didn't get spring camp. You know what I mean? He was late to the spring camp when those other guys had already, Smith, Tate, they had already, all right, we're cooking now, buddy. Sorry.
Right. Get in line.
Yeah. So I know. I think he takes a step this year. I don't know if he's going to be the dude, but if he does not take that step, you have Mylan. And I think Mylan Graham is going to be a guy.
All right. Let's talk about Penn State. How you feeling about Penn State?
Let me see. Penn State here. What do I got here for Penn State? Penn State, my concern is not a concern. Who's going to be a running back one, right? Is it going to be Nicholas Singleton, or will we see Katron Allen kind of finally say, yo, it's my room, bro? Like, we had 1 year where one guy was better than the other, right? Then last year we had a flip. One other guy was better than the other one, but they both averaged over 5 yards per carry. They both were absolute dogs for Penn State. So I want to see, who's going to be the RB, who's going to lead them off to start the year, right? Who first snap? Is it going to be Nicholas Singleton? Is he RB? Because I think that's
I think Nick Singleton is listed as RB1, but Katron Allen, in my estimation, is RB1.
It's hard to say, right? Because they go through so many different games and games like style, like who leads out. Like, all right, Katron Allen's having a good couple, series. We're going to run him out for the first quarter, and then we'll bring Singleton to spell him. So I want to see, maybe they keep going with that, 51-49, or maybe one of them guys finally takes the bull by the horn and says, "Now this is my fucking team, bro, and this is my year." Abdul Carter's gone. See you later, right? So I need to know, can Zurian Foster, former 4-star, top 16 in his class, right? He in minimal amount of time, dude, he was a problem. 16 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. Or, will the newcomer
Sutton
is it Max Granville, right? Now Dennis Sutton plays the other side, so he's going to get his unknown.
He plays the guy to fill. Right.
Is Greenville another guy, another 4-star, another guy top 25 edge? So it's got to give somewhere. The talent's there, right? There's 2 dogs in the ring. When you put the 2 pit bulls in the circle, one of them is walking out the winner. The other guy's bleeding out on the ground. Well, I want to see which one here. Is it Foster's time? Sitting behind this guy for 2 seasons, right? Watching the big dog eat. Is it finally your time? Or are you going to let the newcomer come in there and kind of take over? So we all know Dennis Sutton's going to be a dude.
Right, yeah, he's gonna get here. It's like James Franklin's running out of excuses. He got the best coordinator room in the country.
Agreed.
Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Knowles, we started running out of excuses here. Can't continue to use the wide receiver excuse. We running out of goddamn excuses.
Defense can't really get any better.
Right. What, like
they allowed less. That was like 11 points a game last year. Like,
you got a 2,000-yard backfield that agreeing to come back. And a guy at QB.
Now, and with that wide receiver room, have they finally figured it out? Because they lost their best guy last year, right? He left.
Right.
What is his name? Harrison, right? Harrison the third. But they brought in Kyron Hudson. So he had a year at USC.
At USC, yeah.
Maybe that's the guy that Alla, gets accustomed to, gets likened to. We'll have to see. But my question is Luke Reynolds going to be able to replace some of that production? Tyler. Luke Reynolds was the number one tight end in this class. Last year, because last year was a freshman. Yeah. So and it's in the 24 class. He was tight end 1. And our guy Eric Froton swore by him at the Elite 11, said he was a kid that was
I remember that
catching everything. So can he emerge and kind of lessen, the drop off from Tyler Warren to that tight end? Because Tyler Warren was that offense down the stretch. They lined him in the backfield. They lined him in line.
Yeah,
everywhere you needed to get him, they got him. So will Luke Reynolds play that type of role, or we play a traditional tight end role for Penn State? So those are kind of the matchups I'm looking at.
I would have to agree. You think the kid from Troy can get some production this year at Penn State?
Who's that, Ross?
Yeah, Devontae Ross. Yeah,
I think he has no chance. He's going to be the Z.
Yeah, he's going to have to. Next team, Texas. Talk to me about Texas.
Wide receiver, baby. You have the Z wide receiver with no experience. Open competition, but you have absolute behemoths in that room, right? Khalil Lockett, 5-star wide receiver, 2 in the class, right? Versatile. Can play anywhere on the field you want him to play. Can run almost every route on the tree. Middle of the field, dominator, right?
You remember the day and age where freshmen, wide receivers weren't that big of an impact. They kind of
especially at Texas. Texas didn't even play true freshman wide receivers. Right, they got no choice now.
Yeah, they don't.
Jamie French with 2 Fs. Okay, make sure you get it right. Jamie French with 2 Fs.
Yeah, 2 of them.
4-star wide receiver 9 in this class, bro. You're talking about a dude that's got size. He's got hands, attacks the ball, catch radius, can play the boundary. And then Freddie Dubois, another 4-star wide receiver. This kid was the top 50 wide receiver in the class. This kid's got the speed, right? So each one of these kids have a little bit of something that you want in that Z. So I think this is going to be a competition that's going to be an absolute dogfight. I think Lockett can come away with it, but I would not be surprised if French was able to kind of win that Z role because there were so many teams that committed that wanted him. He committed, decommitted, had a big ordeal. Then there was another 12 schools in on French. Where was he going to go? Was he going to go with his high school quarterback? Was he going to go to Texas? Ended up going to Texas. People that have that hype around him, it's usually for a reason. So I wouldn't be surprised if French gave Lockett a run for his money in spring camp. And then Travis Shaw against Justice Terry at defensive tackle, right? Like Justice Terry is a 5-star, number 2 defensive lineman in his class. You're talking about a top 12 overall in the class. This is a problem. A straight playmaker, an absolute athlete. And Travis Shaw transfers in from UNC. So this is a wide open room. And nothing's guaranteed here. You know what I'm saying? So he played a little bit of time, but he's 6'5", 330. So he has the size and the build to be a defensive tackle and just run stuffer, eat up in the A and the B gap. But not really 26 tackles, right? He had 4 tackles for loss. Nothing crazy that makes me think you're going to be DT1. So I think there's a chance, again, we could see another young buck come in for Texas. Look at Anthony Hill Jr., what he's done since he was a true freshman at starter. Absolute machine, continually gets better. I want to watch Justice Terry because I think there's a good chance that he could eat Travis Shaw's lunch and be that defensive tackle that starts in that front 7. I mean, he has a composite score of 99.3.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
he a problem. Cooper Pettigrew from 24/7 comped him to Jalen Carter before he even took a snap at Texas. So I think there's a good chance that he could be a guy that's fighting, to be that one for Texas.
Texas is going to be impressive this year. I can't wait to see how good this team is going to be. South Carolina, you've been on the South Carolina bandwagon for a very long time. Talk to me about, your expectations of the team and the positional battles that we should be paying attention to.
I expect the Laura Sellers to take that step. Bringing in Mike Schuler, I think, is huge. You do remember Mike Schuler helped in the development of Cam Newton. And shout out to Brian Bosach. He says that Lorna Sells has the trajectory to be by the end of the time he's done a Cam Newton style player and have that effect for South Carolina. But a battle that I'm watching out for in here is kind of a room that they've struggled a little bit with last year. They did good. Rocket Raheem kind of took off towards the end of the season for them. Last 6 or 7 games, got back in that old school form. It's going to be that running back room. Oscar Attaway, he returns, but he wasn't anything that he was when he was at North Texas. You know what I mean? It was a shell of himself from what he was. He only had like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns last year, and struggled to kind of find his role at South Carolina running back room behind Rocket Raheem. And then they brought in Razul Faison from Utah State. I think this is a gentleman who was granted that extra year through the NAL decision, right? This is a 1,000-yard back for Utah State last year from the end zone 8 times. Guy averaged almost 6 yards per carry for Utah State, right? And then you have the rook, the true freshman coming in, Jaquil Holman. I mean, this is a freshman who rushed for 1,600 yards last year. He was a top 25 athlete, played both sides of the ball. He scored 16 touchdowns and averaged 10.2 yards per carry. In a room that doesn't really have a guy that just says, yeah, I'm going to be him and I'm going to take over him. I know Faison is the veteran and he has the experience putting up 1,000 yards. You're also coming from a sub-tier conference. I'm not knocking you, right?
Right.
Sub-tier conference to a kid that's a 4-star recruit coming into the SEC. I think this is more of a battle than people are actually thinking about. So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on. If Faison wins, then the battle for me is still stays in the room. Who's RB2? Is Attaway going to finally, say, all right, I understand what's going on here in the Gamecocks, offense? Or does the freshman come in and kind of niche out a role for him in the future? And then watch out, because then it's going to be, Hallman and Sellers going forward.
I love it. Let's talk about the team we talked about a little bit earlier, Texas Tech. Talk to me about their positional battles and your outlook.
So for Texas Tech, I'm going to go defensive side of the ball here, because there's a gentleman that's coming over from Georgia Tech that I like, okay? But I don't think he's just guaranteed the role. It's going to be Isaac Smith versus Romello Height. Now, Romello Height comes over from Georgia Tech. He's a problem, okay? 6'3", 214 pounds, edge rusher, 35 tackles, right? 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. Finds his way. He has 2 or 3 forced fumbles. So this is a guy who's, always around the leather. This is a guy that's just a difference maker, a playmaker, right? My problem is his 22% missed tackle rate over the past 2 seasons. Yes, you fly around, but if you don't wrap him up in that first flying around, this is a good chance that he's going to break that single arm tackle. It's a good chance he's going to bounce off you. And you're bringing in Isaac Smith. He's the guy who's been there for a little bit. Only had 5 starts, played in 12 games. So they were giving him a little bit, and they saw something in him where he had to have those 5 starts, right? 400 snaps last season. 9 run stuffs, 11 total pressures, 31 tackles. So in a smaller amount of time than he had at Romello, he put up similar numbers. He had 4 tackles for loss and the same amount of sacks that Romello Height had put up. So this younger cat who's been in the room a little bit, I think there's a chance that he might push Romello Height to get to a different height, right? And get his game to a next level and play even better. But this is a battle that I'm watching out for Texas Tech, because I feel like they need to get pressure off the edge right off the rip. They need to have that defense cause problems. They need to make sure that those quarterbacks they're facing in the Big 12 aren't having 3, 4, 5 seconds in the pocket to throw the ball. So I feel like one of these guys has to be the dude to step up there, set the tone for that front 4, right? And be the guy that's going to be, all right, you're not cutting me on the edge, and I'm going to be the guy that gets back there and shortens the circle for your quarterback. I think this is a battle people need to look out for Texas Tech.
Let's stay in that Lone Star State. Let's talk about Texas State. What is your outlook on Texas State this year, and what is the positional battle to watch?
They've been good for 2 years at quarterback, right? Jordan McLeod was there. And the year before, they had another guy the year before that went off. I forget.
That's gonna bother me.
Yeah, it's gonna bother me too.
It was a transfer.
Yep, 2 transfers back to back that put up 3,200 plus and 25 touchdowns.
That's gonna eat at me. I'm gonna wake up.
Finley, TJ Finley.
Finley. Yeah.
All right. It was Finley the McLeod. So they both did well. Again, they went and hit the portal hard at the quarterback, right? They brought in Holden Garini from Auburn, right, who never really had any time, but he was a top 20 quarterback in his class. 4-star. They did 70% in high school. You're talking about an accurate quarterback, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Giovanni McCoy, kid who went from Idaho to Oregon State last year. Dual threat quarterback. Had almost 350 rush yards, 5 touchdowns, 61% completion, 1,300 yards. Had trouble passing the ball. He had three touchdowns and 6 picks. So that's something that's eye popping to me. Really struggled. Oregon State kind of struggled last year, right? Ollie Gordon took a back seat as well. Like his numbers decreased from the previous year. So in general, Oregon State as a program took a hit, but he's something to look out for because he's a dual threat QB, which Texas State, right? Recently, it's had success. Both of their quarterbacks in McLeod and Finley are able to make off-platform throws and have some legs to them. And then another guy that they attacked in the portal out of Pitt is Nate Yarnell, who, when Eli Holston had health problems in a couple games into it, this kid filled in well. 1,000 yards, 59% completion, 10 touchdowns to 5 picks, right? He's not as mobile as the other two guys. But I think when it comes to, being more accurate, being able to sit in that pocket and be a true pocket passer, I think Yarnell is more of that guy. But I think
fun fact, that's who they brought to ACC Media Days. That's
who?
Pitt brought.
Right. Eli Holston was supposed to be the guy. He just took that step early in the season. So I think Yarnell has is a dog in this fight. He's not just there for depth. Running back, bro. Right. Monty's gone. Terrence Burgess Jr., I thought was going to be something. Less than 400 yards last year. Had trouble finding the end zone. Lincoln Pawnee, 5'9", 200 pounds. Less than 100 attempts, but averaged over 5 yards per carry. Had 8 touchdowns and 12 receptions last year for $140. I think there's a chance that Lincoln Pawnee could be RB1 for Texas State this year. And I think there's a chance that if he is RB1 and they give him the bulk of the carries, you might see a 1,000-yard back out of that gentleman. Kind of like a Dean Connors that went to Rice, transferred to Houston. Guy they using that Saquon Barkley CMC type role, right? Can receive, right? Compact guy, a lot of yak. Doesn't matter where you line him up. He just finds a way to get open. I think this guy, Lincoln Pawnee, could be a guy that kind of emerges out of nowhere. We've seen plenty of backs do it, right? Like Scatterboo, I knew where he was. Did I think he was going to be a top 5 back in the country this year? Hell no. No. This gentleman could be a top 5 back in the Sun Belt all day.
Up next, Georgia Tech, friend of the network. We really love their program. Talk to me about Georgia Tech.
All right, Georgia Tech. I'm going to go the rush, the specialty defensive linebacker position for them. Is it going to be Rowan Tripoli or is it going to be Brandon Monley, right? Both of these guys are transfers because that gentleman has moved on to the next level. One's coming in from UTSA, one's coming in from Mercer. Similar numbers. I think that this guy from Mercer, this Monley guy, small school, but 40 tackles, 18 tackles for loss out of the 40. That jumps off the screen to me. That's an eye-popping number when almost half of your tackles are tackles for loss. That means you know how to get in the backfield. You know how to manhandle these guys on the offensive line, and you are just a pressure cooker. The other gentleman only had 5 tackles for loss and 20 tackles. So it's like, who's the guy? It'll be interesting to see. I think UTSA gentleman, Tripoli has more of better competition that he's faced recently, right? But I think this kid out of Mercer is Braden Monley. I think he might be the dude who could win this. This is going to be an interesting matchup for me to watch for Georgia Tech. They're going to need a guy in that rush position. They need a guy to step up and be that, like that Mike position. He's kind of like the lead pressure cooker. And I think one of these guys has to be that.
I'm interested to see Brent Key being an offensive line guy, being a run game guy. I'm interested to see if there's still a freshman Josh Petty, if he gets any bump this year. I'll be interested to see that.
Our guy Josh Petty, he has to.
Yeah, I would think he will have to get some bump this year.
They got him at the 2 spot right now going into it, so I think it's possible. What is Singleton's gone, and they used him in kind of like a Swiss Army knife type role, right? He was in motion a shit. I want to say over 65% of the time that he was on there. he's gone now, right? So
Right.
does the Jamal Haynes experiment take the next step? Do we start to see him slide out to the slot and kind of because Rivers, Eric Rivers is the FIU guy, and Dean Patterson, these guys are outside threats. These guys are going to be the guys that work the boundary, right?
Right.
Can Jamal, do we get this, dual threat, like specialty on Jamal Haynes this year? He flashed it a little bit last year. If they can get him a little bit more, they can give him into that Jamal Gibbs style back. Ooh, watch it. Because he has that twitchiness to him.
Yeah, that'll be real crazy. And the last team on this Coach Nino Express, we're gonna talk about Duke. Talk to us about Duke, Nino.
Wide receiver room, right? I mean, Darian Menza needs to find someone to throw the ball to. He came in there. We know why he came in there. They gave him the bag, right? But I think he doesn't want to fall back. He's trying to continue the progress, continue, to go forward. So he's going to need to find a target. J.J. Jones is gone. He was the leader for them for the past, two seasons. All these big targets they've had. Nesbitt's gone. He's on into the draft. Martin Hampton is gone at running back. There's a lot of voided targets, a lot of voided production coming back for them. The Oklahoma transfer who was injured last year with the knee injury, Andrew Anthony, right? He was a guy, 4-star recruit. He's put up some numbers before, 500 yards the previous season before last year with the injury. Or is it going to be Jaheim Little, right? Like, this is a kid that's a 3-star, top 100 wide receiver, had 16 touchdowns last year, 1,400 yards, possession receiver, 70 receptions, right? So this guy get the ball at the 1, get the ball at 25 yards downfield and make things happen. He's also a special teamer, right? He was their number 1 kick returner and punt returner, and he played multi-sports and both sides of the ball. It'll be interesting to see if Duke gives this kid Little a chance, or if Andrew Anthony is 100% now. Knee injuries with wide receivers are huge.
Absolutely.
And so I just realized that I totally messed all that shit up, and I'm an asshole because Marion Hampton and Bryson Nesbitt played at North Carolina, and I'm talking Duke, and we were in the Duke, and we said Duke in North Carolina. People at home, I apologize. I'm a jackass, but my apologies. That's all I can say. My apologies.
It's all good, brother. So we talked about some dynamic duos a little bit earlier. You and I, one hell of a dynamic duo. Who are some of the best dynamic duos in college football headed into the 2025 season? And this could be on offense or defense.
I stood on the offensive side because there was a few that stuck out to me. We mentioned Penn State's running backs already. I'll lay out 2 more duos in the running back room that I think could literally just dominate this year. LSU, right? We saw Caden Durham as a true freshman just kind of carry them, right, for a while there.
Shout out to you guys on Debbie Darlings. Yeah.
They're bringing in another kid with just as much talent, Harlem Berry. I think there's a chance that these guys could kind of split everything out of the backfield here and give Garrett Nussmeier an absolute complete offense to start the year. They kind of never had a complete offense to start the year. They've been kind of figuring out whether it's who's going to be the guy to fill the role of the wide receiver room. Oh, it's Lacey this year, whoever it was. And then, all right, 3 years we struggled at running back. It took Caden Durham to come in and finally do it. Now they got 2 guys of that caliber. I think that they could be one of the top duos in the SEC when it comes to the running back room. And then a team out in the ACC, right? Louisville. Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. Isaac Brown had over 1,000 yards, freshman. Duke Watson had over 600 yards, freshman. I mean, they have a talented backfield for a few years to come. And I think they're probably one of the most talented duo backfields in the ACC. Let me see here. What else I got here? Wide receiver combination. If everything checks the boxes and they finally live, if Evan Stewart lives up to the final hype and puts it all together this year, him and Decorian Moore, like, you could be looking at 2 absolute top 5 wide receivers in the country. Like, it's very well could happen. Decorian Moore is supposed to be him right off the rip. Evan Stewart was thought to be him. Hasn't really lived up to it yet. But if they put all the pieces together with Dante Moore this year, watch out. That could be one of the top. They could give Ohio State a run for the top wide receiver room in the country. Speaking of Ohio State, they have to have one of the top quarterback rooms, right? Julian saying, Davion St. Clair, that has to be the top quarterback duo, probably in all of college football, right? I mean, pretty close.
Yeah.
Colorado got one though, right? Caden
Oh,
Salter,
hell yeah.
Juju Lewis. So there's a lot. And then the last one, people slept on him. We talked about him on Debbie Downs. I think Auburn has one of the top wide receiver rooms, but their duo of Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons. And nobody's talking about Malcolm Simmons, who had an absolute phenomenal freshman season. I think they're going to give the SEC a problem this year. I truly, truly believe that.
That was fantastic, Nino. It's been a great show, fun show as always, man. Let them know where they can find you at on Twitter and on X. I still call it Twitter, but let them know.
I'll always call it Twitter, the Angry Blue Bird. But
right.
at _ Nino Brown _ and then everything I do goes under the CFP Nation brand. I got a little tied up today, but I think it'll be dropping tomorrow with KT. The NIU 2025 outlook. Got a couple more teams left in the in the MAC, and then I think we're going to be going on to Mountain West while Moon finishes up the Conference USA. So, it's early, but we don't stop. We always trying to give you something. We got some player profiles popping off soon, so check us out, man.
T-shirt and jersey collection is astounding. What jersey you got on today?
It's Irish, so I had to go with the Celtics. Garnett.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I had to Tatum, but I'm like, no, I gotta.
You gotta go back
big
a little
ticket,
bit,
baby.
Hey man, let's talk some March Madness real quick. Who you got winning it all?
Bro, first of all, their portal is getting crazy, right? Like, who would have thought that the college basketball portal would have as much like buzz?
I think it's worse.
I was gonna say this is what sucks for me, right? Because these kids are hitting the portal right now before the tournament.
You know what's crazy? You can Google certain players. Kadari Richmond is one of those players. You see him in 3 jerseys, bro. That's crazy to me, dog. Like, their portal is crazy, bro.
I mean, I gotta go with Auburn. I'm gonna ride Auburn. I think Auburn has. I know they're all old boys. Okay, I know people. They're all like 23 and 24 years old, but
right.
Broom is a dude. Like Joni Broom, and there's nothing he can't do.
Nah,
right? Like there's nothing he can't do.
Do it all. And they got first rounded last year, so
they got.
I want them to make a deep run. I hated to see Chuck get teased the way he got teased last year after they got first round.
Bro, they have great guard play. Like so, they run 1 big and 4 guards, right? That's pretty much what they run.
Yeah, and a lot of programs run it. And I would say Jay Wright is kind of the inventor of that.
That was Louisville, Villanova, right?
Yeah, Villanova. Yeah.
That's what Dante, whatever his freaking name is, was there. Dante DiVincenzo was.
Yeah.
He did all that. All those 4 guards that just shot the lights out and could run to the rack.
And you couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah, I think Bromy's the dude. I think that Miles Kelly is a good guard. I don't know if he's the guard. I know a lot of people like Baker Mazzara, but I just I'm a little bit partial. I don't like Alabama. You know what I mean? And Jake Crane is a good friend of the show. I just don't like Alabama in general.
I'm telling you, Alabama's real deal.
No, I know. I'm not saying that they're not. I just Michigan State's the real deal too, bro.
Yeah, they are. They are. Duke is my pick. That's my homer pick. You know what I'm saying? But
is he 100%? Because everything's gonna ride on him.
No. But I think the fact that he wasn't 100%, granted, the ACC is one of the weaker conferences. Now it used to be a very strong conference back in the day. But the fact that they were able to win the semifinal game and the final game without him, I think it'll bode well. And that kid Con Knuckle, I've been saying it all year. That kid Con Knuckle is real deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like, my thing is like, if Jaden Atkins can get into his like Khalid El-Amid bag, bro, kind of, because he's been the dude,
right?
13 points a game. He's the facilitator, right? He's the guy that when it's crunch time, clearing it out for Atkins from Michigan State. So, I mean, if you've seen teams do it. Creighton did it for like 7 years in a row, dude. They just get hot in the first round and take off. Hey, don't roll out. Don't roll out Michigan State. Don't roll.
You're right. I agree with you. You can't bet against Izzo, man. Just don't bet against Izzo.
How about that West Virginia shit, bro? Huh?
That North Carolina shouldn't be they shouldn't be an attorney. But when your athletic director is a member of the selection committee,
my sleeper.
Who's your sleeper?
Sean Padella and Ole Miss.
Oh, I like that. You
He
know
can
what
shoot.
scares me for Auburn?
Who?
That they can meet Mr. Ryan Kalkbrenner in the second round. That scares me for Auburn.
Bro, that's why I've told you the commercial. That's my dude, bro. Like,
yeah, Kalkbrenner. Yeah, he's
when he
he's
puts
real
it
good.
on, when
Yeah.
he turns that shit on, bro, he has that the guy from Denver type aura. Joker,
Jokic.
like he's he can just do whatever you want. I can shoot it from anywhere. And if you double and triple me, I will find an open man that's gonna kill you.
And he can give Janai Broome fits because we seen Marquise Brown for Duke give Janai Broome fits. So I can't wait. I
don't think anybody gives Broome fits. I think Broome is mental.
Yeah, it probably is mental. It's
I think
probably
once they start to body him a little bit, he kind of like curls up at the hibernation a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what Marquise Brown. That's what Marquise Brown did. I actually got to fill out my bracket, man.
Is Broome a top 3 pick?
No, only because the NBA is weird. Like NBA want 18 and 19-year-olds, bro. The NBA is so weird, bro. Like NFL. If you're talented, you're talented. You could be 24 years old if you're talented. NBA, no. I think you'll see Dylan Harper.
Oh, I think Flagg goes first, and then
Flagg.
I would take Ace Bailey, bro, over Dylan.
Yeah, and Bailey's real deal. Dylan Harper be up there. Like I said, the NBA don't like older players, bro. It's weird. NBA is weird. I don't watch the NBA. To be honest with you, the NBA is just weird, bro.
How about what do you think about Illinois' Kasparis? I can't say his last name.
He's pretty good. I
watched that Chauncey Billups fight to him.
Yeah, he does. I watched him. Was it the Wisconsin game that I watched? And I thought Wisconsin would get them fits, but they didn't. But like I said, if there's a player that you guys want to, a couple names you want to know, Mark Sears, point guard of Alabama, he's must-see TV. He can go crazy. And the LJ Cryer for Houston, he's a streaky effing shooter. If he gets hot, just watch the hell out.
I like Fears from Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears.
Yeah, oh yeah, yo, he got that dog in him.
And I gotta stay home. I gotta stay home.
Kid
from UConn, bro. Liam McNeely. He gets after it too. So.
Yeah. I like their team a lot. I'm always interested to see the upsets, and we're gonna damn sure get some upsets. And I believe I'm off Thursday, so I can't wait, bro.
So do you think that homeboy goes in the top 12?
Who?
Your guy Con?
No, he won't.
You don't think so, huh? Because I just went through 3 mock drafts. They got him at 11 everywhere.
They got him at 11 everywhere.
They got 3 Duke players in the top 20.
You think you'll test Will? Who's the third? I know it's not Reese. Oh, okay. He's a bucket off the bench. Because I like Reese Proctor a lot too for Duke. And whenever Duke wins it, there's always an older guard that helps guide them along the way.
Who's the dude from Baylor? The guard. That boy got handles, bro.
Who you talking about?
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Who you talking about? When you say his name, it's gonna piss me the hell off, man.
Yeah, Omir, Norchad, Amir, or whatever his name
is. Yeah,
Edgecombe. Edgecombe's the dude with the handles, though.
Yeah. Then Omir, he played at like Miami, right? They all transfer. They transfer. What do you think about Kansas not being a top 4 seed for the first time in like years?
What were they ranked this year?
They were ranked number 1 heading into the season. And I think that
heading into the season, right?
Yeah.
They were like 6 for a while, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. And then they just bottomed out.
These old dogs, dude, they lost 12 games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll just put it this way: you lost 12 games, and your best player is a center. You can't be in relevancy in this day and age, man. You can't. Yeah. How many driving kickouts are you gonna do?
Right. College ball is all about guard play, man. But yeah, I'm excited for the tourney. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive and advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, y'all take care, man. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown.